Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is our weekly show where we basically pull everybody together and give you some insight into the content that is going to be released for the coming week from the channel. In addition to that, we spend a little bit of time pontificating on some news or some current events or something like that. And I am going to lay out for you guys a revised theory. More than a month ago, gave you guys a theory as to what I believe was happening with the X-Men. I have rethought, noodled that theory, and I am going to give you guys an update on my new theory for the X-Men. And then we're also going to give away a cool slab today. It is a really nice slab that one lucky subscriber is going to walk away with tonight. And so we're going to get to all of that in just a couple of moments. But before we do that, I want to say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room. Tina is here. Tina, it is good to see you. Chris Barrett is in the house. How you doing, my friend? Felix is here. Johnny Future is in the house. Punish Comics is here. And it looks like you guys were having a very good conversation before I popped in here. Christopher is in the house. How you doing, my friend? And Eddie, you are welcome. I went early, like 4 minutes. So there you go, my friend. You know, the goal is always to get the kids in the bed before I go live, or else we will be interrupted nonstop. So I'm scrolling down through the names here, saying hello to some other people. Here we go. Darkwing Duck is in the house. How you doing, my friend? It is good to see you. Scrolling through the names. Andrew is here. Welcome, Andrew. Matt is also in the house. Matthew, it's good to see you, my friend. Scrolling down through the names. Scrolling. Harvey Abel is in here. Wayne McDonald, my brother from Canada. How you doing? Scrolling down through the names, scrolling. Here's a robust conversation. Mr. Comics 89 is here. I was watching him earlier today on the YouTube machine as he showed everybody all of the slabs that are in his collection. Nikki is here. Good to see you. Joe is in the house. She Spawn. I was talking about you just the other day, my friend. It is good to see you. C3 Comics is in the house. Was that Quest Dog? Quest DGW. Let's go with Quest Dog. How you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. Johnny Lane. I'm not sure if I said hello, but there you go. Clay is in the house. How you doing? Bearded Comic Collector is here. How you doing, my friend? It is good to see you. Chuck is in the house. Scrolling down through the names. Jason is here. America is in the house. Chris, how you doing, my friend? Sammy is here. Lucas Cruz is in the house. My brother from the UK says it is 3:30. Currently up with the kids. Ouch. Strange Tales to Collect. Welcome to the live stream. JIB, how you doing? Bello. Travis is in the house. Christopher is here. Snizzle Pop is here. Eric is here. It is good to see all of you guys. So we are going to go ahead and get this party started. If you are watching this right now and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so. That way you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a daily basis, weekly basis, periodically, whatever the increment is. I definitely want to encourage you guys to go ahead and hit that subscription button and to also turn on notifications. The other thing that by hitting that button, it allows you to do is to actually be in the running for the various contests and giveaways that I do. One of which is the Go Collect giveaway that we do every single week where we give away a cool slab. And then I also just do random periodic giveaways. I will tell you guys that I have recorded a video that actually explains how you enter the Go Collect contest. I realize that as the channel continues to grow, more and more people are coming in and they're not quite sure how to enter the Go Collect giveaway. And so what I've done is I've recorded a video that I will make available. It is unlisted right now, but I will make it available probably after this show so that if anyone has any issues, they can always search for like Regie Collects, Regie Collects Go Collect giveaway or something like that, or Regie Collects community tab. They will be able to find the various videos that I've put up to help people to enter the giveaway, because why do a giveaway if people can't enter it? And so we are going to try to make it available for everyone so that everyone can enter the contest. All right. And then certainly if folks have any issues, questions, comments, or thoughts, instead of just posting it up randomly on the page, just send me a message, Regie Collects, and I will happily provide you with some guidance on how to actually enter the Go Collect giveaway. So hopefully between all of those things, that will actually help you guys. So All right, so scrolling down through the comments, making sure. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and get to a little bit of the news. So as I mentioned, I have a new theory. Well, it's really a revised theory, if you will, that I actually shared with you guys more than a month ago on what was happening with the X-Men. And the original theory basically dealt with the fact that Krakoa could potentially create pod people. That was one of the original theories. And what I've done is I've actually kind of gone back and thought about that theory a little bit more. And what I've done is I've tried to put a little bit of meat on the bone, as it were, using some of the things that Jonathan Hickman has put out there. And he's kind of spread these tidbits out there. He is talking in the present, the future, the distant future, the very far future. And he's telling these stories in such a way that leaves you a little confused, which I think is done by design, done really well, and done by design to keep us intrigued. And what I've tried to do is to go back and kind of rethink about a couple of things. And so one of the things that I thought about was this right here. This is actually something that I think was in House of X4, I want to say. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that it's in one of these. And basically what this is that this looks at the mutant extinction events that have actually taken place. And you have Genosha, decimation, basically, and then all of these individuals that have basically exterminated mutants. And so this basically just runs down, all of the things that have happened to mutants, all of the people that have exterminated mutants, and the percentage of the population that mutants actually represent. And so this is an interesting fact here because, there was this whole theory about the hide and seek thing that mutants were actually doing and how it wasn't working, and how there were these periods of just extinction. And then there would be like they would run away, they would hide, they would be found, they would be destroyed. There's just this history of that kind of behavior. And so if you look here at this, this page right here, this is actually from, I can't remember what issue it was. It's in one of the House of X issues, but this is actually the Sinister line. And what this talks about is the mutant breeding programs. And it says when the population level of mutants reached a crisis point, and the constant evasion, relocation, confrontation cycle made mutant propagation impossible. The remaining mutant leadership endorsed and improved the creation of the Sinister breeding pits. And so we actually saw the mutants place some of these flowers of Krakoa in different places. One was on the moon, one was on Mars, et cetera, et cetera. Many were on Earth. And this is in one of those habitats that grew from that Krakoa flower is where the mutant breeding pits actually were. And this is, Sinister is all about genetic manipulation, right? He is all about, putting his hands in things and manipulating things. And so this is what they highlight here. And one of the issues was his mutant breeding program. And specifically, it talks about the one on Mars. But I have a theory. I have a theory that potentially there is another breeding ground. There is one more out there, and we're going to take a look at that here as I flip up. What is it? Page 4. Here we go. So this is from one of the earlier issues of House of X. And you can see here that there's all kinds of, on the island of on Krakoa Island, there's all of these different areas. And one of those areas is the cradle. The cradle, I think, is area number 9. And so cradles typically hold babies, right? Just simply by the name, it is typically something that is reserved for babies. And so let me pull up here. I think it's slide number 5. And again, what I'm kind of doing here is laying out my case for what it is that we may have seen. So you guys may remember this. This was actually some of the intro pages into House of X number 1, right? And we see what I believe to be the cradle. And we see some pods here. And we see what we see on the future pages is Professor X standing amongst these trees, these pods, this cradle that is on Krakoa. And we can actually see down here at the bottom of the screen, a hand is emerging from the pods. And we see a couple of bodies here that have been, produced from these pods. And so let me try to flip over here to screen number 6 so I can show you guys what comes up next. So here you go. You can see a little bit better here, the hand emerging from that pod. You can see a couple of bodies there. One of them has red long hair, and one of them is a guy. The other is a guy with short cropped hair. And you can see here as Professor X reaches down and touches his chin and raises his chin up so that he can see his face, you see one of his eyes kind of glow here. And what you don't see on this next screen is that Charles basically says to these people who have just emerged from the pod, he says, "To me, my X-Men." To me, my X-Men is his phrasing. And so that is reminiscent of some phrasing from some early X-Men comics. And so let me flash down here. I think it's slide 7. If we look at slide 7 here, what you'll notice is that here is Scott. Here is Scott during an exchange. I think this was in Powers 1 or 2, I do believe. Here is an exchange with Scott between him and the Fantastic Four. And if you notice here, there is a glint in his eye, very similar to the one that we just saw from those beings that emerged from the pods in the Krakoa cradle. So it's just a little interesting tidbit there that they chose to kind of do a similar treatment. Let's see if I can find this other slide here. I want to pull this one up for you guys because I think that this is also a very important slide. So let me pop this one up here real quick. This is backing up here, going back to Mr. Sinister and what it was that Sinister was actually doing. What Sinister was tasked with as the number of mutants was in decline based upon all of these extinction level events. What he created through his Mars breeding program, and possibly the one that was also on Krakoa back on Earth, is he created chimeras. So the first generation of Sinister mutants were uniformly designed to be divergent copies of singular DNA sources with a pure, uncompromised X gene. So basically what he was doing was making copies of X-Men, straight copies of people with the X gene. And so again, what I think we saw emerge from those pods might have actually been some of these first generation Chimera. And again, we've seen him, Jonathan Hickman, tell the story, past, present, future, distant future, really far out into the future. And what we could have been seeing in some of those later issues are these, third generation chimeras, but we never saw a first generation chimera. Or did we see them in House of X number 4, commonly referred to as fodder? Fodder. Inside the breeding pits, these mutant soldiers were trained in the Martian underground until they reached the age of 16, at which time they traveled to Krakoa to defend the mutant nation state until it fell. So as you guys have probably already surmised, essentially what I am suggesting here is that we have actually seen in House of X number 4, we have actually seen not the real X-Men that have passed away. What we may have seen are the first generation chimera of Cyclops, Jean Grey, of Husk, of Nightcrawler, Wolverine, et cetera, right? That is what we may have just seen, not the real X-Men themselves. And so I'm going to bounce back here and remove this thing and see what you guys, here we go. So C3E is basically shouting out clones. Scrolling down here a little bit, the pods remind me of 1998 Godzilla, says Matthew. Scrolling down through the comments here. Yep. And well, here's the thing is that this was a prediction that was actually made a little over, well, it's about a month ago, right? Well, I think it was right after I read issue number 1, I kind of came up with the idea. So Rob Worth is saying, crazy idea. What if those pods are drone-like pods so they won't sacrifice real mutants? There we go. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about here, is that the supposition is that essentially what we have seen die is not the real X-Men. It could just be first generation chimera, because we've seen some of the later generation chimera, which was, I think it was like 100 years. I think we saw them at 100 years, but we haven't seen any of the first or second generation chimera. We've seen the third generation chimera. And so It's a little interesting. Yes, it is hard to see Fodder die when we saw Charles on his knees crying, but maybe what we've seen is actually some Chimera pass away. So it'll be interesting to see what Jonathan Hickman actually does. Who is this? Porter says there was enough foreshadowing that it has to be Chimera or Hickman's messing with our minds again. And here's the thing: there's a lot of people that are predicting time travel, that Proteus is going to do some things. And I don't know if Jonathan Hickman, because he is such a good writer, is going to take the easy way out by using some kind of plot device. In my head, what I want to believe is that he has already said, to the point that Porter is making here, he has already said what is happening. We just don't know it yet. And so I think at the very end of House of X #4, there was some Krakoan language that basically said something about Mr. Sinister. And so again, we will see. We will see very soon what the truth will be. So here we go. David says the 8 mutants in communion with the 8 on the mission may be backup links. I thought the same thing, David. That was one of my theories when I was sitting here counting those numbers. That was one of my theories. And so it was interesting, as I said, that there were 8 of them that were left in Krakoa and 8 of them that went to the sun to take things on. It's interesting. And so we shall see. They may, I mean, Krakoa, you never know. You never know. There may be a whole wing of them out there. So let me scroll down through the comments here. People replacing the X-Men, scrolling down. Scrolling down. Nice to speculate. What will Hickman throw at us in the next few issues of House of X and Power? Exactly. That's all that this is, right? There is speculation where you just make stuff up, and then there's speculation where you try to ground it in something. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do, is to ground it in the things that Jonathan Hickman has already laid out there. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? I could be completely wrong. And I always say this, your theory is just as good as my theory, because at this point, we're all just making stuff up to some degree. So here we go. Rob Worth says Scott Summers seems to act far too submissive, like he was never involved with Emma Frost. There you go. Maddie Joe, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream, my friend. It is good to see you. Yeah, so the Mighty Liger King, how did Jonathan Hickman come up with these ideas? So that's what one of the great things is that I think this dude is just a big fan of comics, man. I think Jonathan is just a major fan of comics. And, as a writer, he is just doing what it is that he does, which is to create these wonderful, intricate plots that reveal themselves over time. And, wherever it comes from, whatever it is that inspires him, I am super thankful for it, because it is just a really fun read. So do I think the drone women, so do the drones think they're real X-Men? I don't know. I don't know. My guess is who knows? Because you could say some of the later Chimera definitely knew that they were Chimera, but they were still people, right? I mean, they were still essentially people, but they knew that they were Chimera. So this first generation, who knows, right? Because we know, with Sinister, with what we've been told, he was constantly improving things. They were called fodder. So who knows whether they have full appreciation for the fact that they are fodder? I honestly don't know. Again, I'm making stuff up, so who knows? Here we go. So Steven says, this story is so good. I think you're onto something, or that the real versions have slowly infiltrated the human race for something bigger. We shall see. You never know. Christopher says, just a great read right now. Indeed it is. Scrolling down through the comments here, Man Bat says the X titles are insanely good. Best writing on these titles in ages. Have to agree with that for sure. Scrolling down, Mark Stevens, how you doing, my man? It is good to see you. So here, don't forget all the future stuff that we saw was in Moira's 9th life. No, I have not forgotten about that. In fact, I actually talked about that in the previous video, that what we saw was Moira's future life, which is true. And she basically, found out what was going on with Nimrod and the creation, and basically was killed by Wolverine so that she could start her life again to come back into the 10th life, which gave the X-Men the ability to go on the mission that they're on right now, right? So essentially they knew where they were headed, which was a one-way ticket. It was essentially a suicide mission. So why not send fodder in on the suicide mission, right? What we don't know, and this was something else I was kind of playing around with, was we don't know whether Moira is going to make the right decision in her 10th life to get an 11th life. And if you remember a couple of issues ago, she was basically told that she has 10 lives, and that if she makes the right decision in her 10th life, she could have an 11th. And so I definitely have not forgotten that what happened in the future that we saw was basically the 9th life, and that we are now in the 10th. So hopefully, I think that still holds water. At least that's my belief, that the theory still holds water. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, yeah, C3E, yeah, I am. I mean, it was interesting. I think many people were left with their jaws dropping at what was happening, because they were literally the X-Men that is literally being taken out one by one. It was quite interesting. There were some very, very powerful moments with Charles, with Scott, with Cyclops, with Jean Grey, certainly with Wolverine and Nightcrawler. Very, very, and just it was interesting to see them go down one by one by one. So scrolling down through the comments here, Joa, thank you very much for that, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, so Bearded Scott Collector says, yeah, Scott appears to be on the cover of an upcoming X-Men #1. That is true. And so, yeah, so he actually appears on the cover of X-Men #1. The X-Men #1 team that is coming out is basically an all like Summers team. Like everybody there is related to Scott Summers, except for Wolverine, who has to be on an X-Men team because he's the moneymaker. But what I was reading was that they were basically saying that some of what we're going to see with the 6 new X-Men titles in October, are directly coming from House of X Powers of 10. Some of them are going to be just unique new stories, not necessarily tied to House of X Powers of 10. At least that's what I'm reading. But I would agree that probably what we're going to see is Scott not be dead in some way, shape, or form. And what I'm supposing here is that it not be some plot device like, back in time or reality manipulation and that kind of stuff, that it's actually going to be something like maybe what I'm describing. But again, only time will tell whether that is indeed true. So scrolling, Matt Ford says, Reg has the House of X Powers of 10 evidence board with connecting strings somewhere in his house. Brother, with the red string and the thumbnail. It's over there on that wall right there. Not messing around. Bello says it could be the pod scene is the final scene. They did die and are being reborn. Again, we will see. We will see. Scrolling down through the comments here. Don't pay that any attention. Don't even go there. Here we go. Eddie says, hey, Reg, I think I found my new favorite character in Valiant's Bloodshot. Was able to pick up a full set of the most recent. Is it the new one that just dropped? Because I've actually heard really good things. I'm actually on a media list for Valiant, and they've been talking a lot about the new Bloodshot. I almost picked it up, but honestly forgot. I've heard good things about that one, so I may have to pick it up if that's the one you're talking about. Did I hear that they were sold out? I don't know. I need to think about that. But I've heard really good things about that. Rush, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Scrolling down through the, yeah, David makes a good point here. Jean is no stranger to pods and cocoons, right? Because she was trapped under the water. What was that? Avengers 2? No, not 247. I can't even remember the issue, but she was trapped under the water in Jamaica Bay. And Jamaica Bay actually did a live stream talking with Brent, from the owner of IG Comic Store, about that issue. It was a double issue between Avengers and Fantastic Four. And I cannot for the life of me remember the numbers there. But nah, she's not a stranger to the pods. Not a stranger at all. Scrolling down through the comments here. He was very upset. There's no doubt about that. He was very upset about that. So who knows? Again, I am trying to guess at what an extremely creative writer is doing in a comic, using some of the material that he has put out there for us, possibly to distract us. I'm not quite sure, but anything is possible. In my theory is as good as any other theory until Jonathan proves me wrong. Oh man. Let's scroll down through the comments here. Matty Joe, I see you, brother. Um, how does this lead into his 6 issues New Mutants run? Seems the most important of the spinoffs. I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, the thing is that if you look at what has happened between just 1 and 4, right? He has 2 issues left. And if you look at what's happened between 1 and 4, he's blown our mind repeatedly, right? So anything is possible between like 4 and 6 of House of X. So who knows? Who knows what he's going to do? It may involve Cypher and Krakoa, that merger. Who knows what this dude is going to come up, man? He is killing it. Well, no sooner than I said it. I read it. It says Christopher. Well on, my friend. Devin, well done. Hickman is drawing a lot from sci-fi and a fantastic new spin. I see so much Dune and 2001 in the series, obviously with its own X-Men stuff on. There you go. Hickman is a master of adding layers of depth and meaning. Well done. I mean, again, a lot of people don't like what he's done with Moira in terms of making her a mutant, and I personally think that it's brilliant. I personally think that it is brilliant because if you think about the other characters, they have been so manipulated and modified and changed over time by different writers that, you know, changing those characters is just it's tough, right? So he basically touched it and tapped into a character that no one was thinking about. I mean, it's a brilliant move for him to do what he's done. And a lot of people don't care for it. I personally applaud him for giving new life, not just to Moira, right? Because that's a given, but giving new life to the X-Men. And it is really well done. I am so pumped to see what he actually does in the ongoing series. I think that it could be amazing. So scrolling down through the comments here, a couple of comments here about drones controlled by the Cuckoos, Emma Frost, Jean Grey, Xavier, and they can use Cerebro. Yeah, that was, yeah. But again, I think again, if you look at what it is what is already in the comic, right? Already in the comic, the principle of essentially clones done by Sinister is already there for us. We don't have to like make it up. It is already there for us. And so that's what I'm attempting to do, is to use it, because the question would be, could those telepaths, as powerful as they are, control all of the independent actions of those mutants while at the same time maintaining the telepathic communication link? It's just, I don't know if there's enough there for them to all be able to do that. And we haven't even seen Emma. We haven't, not in this particular issue, that being House of X #4. So again, just using what's already there, you know? Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Here we go. This is a good comment here. So David says, Hickman is really rehashing all old devices from earlier X-Men. The impressive thing is not only he knows them, but he manages to link. Well said. This is a great comment, right? Because he's not coming in just rewriting history, right? That's easy. Just to rewrite history and just to make stuff up is just, that's easy. What he is doing, he is taking things that are already there and telling a new story with those things that are that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. To create in a vacuum is easy. To create in the presence of other things is really, it's well done. It's well done. So scrolling down through the comments here, I'm way behind. Let me catch up real quick. All right. So scrolling up through the comments here. All right. So I think we've beaten this horse to death. Scrolling up through the comments here. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Scrolling down through the comments here. Scrolling through the comments. All right, so we're gonna keep this thing. What if Charles erased Moira's 6th life from her memories for some reason? Yeah, this is one of the big ones that is still kind of out there, right? That's funny. That one's funny. This is one of the things that's still out there, right? And I talked about this before, the 666, right? I don't know what that 6th life is all about. And that may be a little nugget that gets dropped on us at some point, but that one's out there, and I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with that. Rob Worth, my favorite writers are those that make it so that we don't know what's going to happen next, and I'm on the edge of my seat. That is exactly what this guy is doing. He is, and the thing is that you can enjoy the individual's issues for what they are. And then there's the larger story that is happening in the background, right? It's one thing to read an individual issue and not enjoy it because it's part of the larger, but it's another to be able to read that issue and enjoy it and know that it's part of the larger and still feel the connectedness of that. It's again, I don't know how the dude does it, but he's super talented. And someone actually asked me a question that I'm answering in a video later this week about what talent would I want, whether I want it to be a writer or an artist. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that one. All right. So let's keep this thing moving forward. I think I've beaten that horse enough. All right. So what I am releasing this week from the channel, and again, if you guys haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so that you can stay abreast of all the content that comes out from the channel. If you missed up until this point what I was talking about with the X-Men, I basically am putting out a revised theory on my thoughts around the X-Men and what it is that we have just witnessed in House of X. And I'm connecting the dots between, House of X 1 through 3 and also the Powers of 10 comics as well, telling a revision to my theory about what it is that we witnessed. So if you guys missed that, I definitely want to encourage you to go back and watch the beginning of the live stream. So the content that is coming out from the channel this week, I think the last couple of weeks have been some of my better weeks on YouTube. I feel, and I don't know how long I'm gonna keep it going, to be honest with you, but I feel like some of the content that I've been putting out is pretty good. And so I think this week is going to be, I think, a good week. At the end of the day, you guys will tell me. So what I am finally releasing to you guys is a new video on how to clean comics. And so I know people have been waiting on this video, but I am finally dropping this one. How to clean comics is coming out this week. And so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. I think it's a pretty long video. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a long video. I did not get into some of the things that I wanted to do with this video because I still am not to a point where I can actually share some of those things. I need to continue practicing and perfecting things before I share. But I did put together, I think, a pretty comprehensive video in which I show you my techniques for actually cleaning comics. So I hope you guys will check that one out. Hope you guys will like it. I hope it gives you some of what it is that you guys were looking for, which is a method for cleaning comics before you press them. And then, of course, there is already the 4-part series on how to clean comics. 3 of them basically show you the process, the tools, the resources. And then the 4th one is basically a Q&A. So that is basically 5 videos that I've put out on the cleaning and pressing of comics that are out there for you guys. I think I already mentioned this before. I put out a post on the community tab looking for questions that people had for me. I have actually recorded 2 videos, 2 Q&A videos that are going to be dropping this week. They are long because there was a lot of questions and I am not short with words. So there are 2 videos that are subscriber Q&A that are actually going to be dropping this week. So hopefully you guys get the chance to check those out. I've also remastered an old video. One of the first set of videos that I worked on almost 2 years ago, I guess, was a set of videos on cosmic keys, right? If the MCU is going to go cosmic, and I believe that it is, what I'm doing is highlighting a couple of comics, key comics, important comics that you might want to know about before they actually go cosmic. And so some of them are going to be no-brainers, but at the time I recorded this almost 2 years ago, not all of them were no-brainers. Some of them are like $3 and $4, right? So stay tuned for cosmic keys. That'll be dropping. And then I'm also going to be dropping a vlog. And I'm not going to tell you about this vlog, but I will tell you the title. The title of this thing is something along the lines of I felt like an idiot. So if that does not intrigue you, yeah. So I felt like an idiot. That is going to be coming out from the channel. So those are some of the pre-recorded videos that will be coming out Monday through Friday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. So definitely encourage you guys to check those out. I am also going to be doing at least 1 to 2 live streams this week. There is a very good chance that Danielle, aka Nerdy Girl, is going to be joining me again this week. I need to check my schedule to see if I can make some time, but I'm hoping to be able to do that interview on Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So please stay tuned for that. Nerdy Girl's going to be back. And she and I started talking about this a couple of weeks ago. And I think that it's going to go down this week. As soon as I iron out the details, I will post some details up on Instagram, and then I will also post it up here on YouTube so you guys can set your calendars for that, because that's probably going to be going down. All right. So let me catch up with the comments here, making sure we are good. All right. All right. So here we go. And then I'm also going to be releasing 2 podcasts this week. So one podcast is actually going to be dropping on Monday, and one will be dropping on Wednesday. So hopefully you guys will be able to check that out. Bearded Comic Collector says, Reggie, I love your comic store hunt videos and the views of the comics you found. I don't have any coming up this week, my man, but stay tuned. Stay tuned because I do want to get back on the hunt again. So definitely stay tuned for that. Those are actually really fun videos to make. I'm gonna be honest with you. So stay at home, stay abreast for that. And what I can tell you, you guys are sitting here having a conversation about cleaning comics, and I can promise you that none of what you're talking about right now is going to be in my video. None of what you're talking about is going to be in the video, because I have taken a different approach to cleaning comics, and it could potentially be controversial because of the approach that I am actually taking. So stay tuned for that. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and do this thing. We are giving away this book right here. It is Flash number 139, the first appearance of the Reverse Flash. And just in case you guys didn't see it, the phrase to actually enter this thing for this week was Professor Zoom. I guess Professor Zoom is the name of the Reverse Flash. So this is the comic that is going to be given away. Huge shout out to the guys over at GoCollect for putting us in a position to be able to give away these comics every single week. So if your name is called, you will get that comic. You will then have the option of getting one of these distressed GoCollect t-shirts. They only come in large and extra large. And if you don't want a t-shirt and you can't fit the size, you can also get one of these pretty cool GoCollect pins. I don't even know if I can get that to focus. We're going to give this thing away. It is a pin and also a stylus. This will be given away to you if you don't want the t-shirt. And then you will also get a copy of the GoCollect exclusive variant. So that's what you're going to be getting. All right. So let's go ahead. Good luck, hashtag giving gang. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and pop this thing open. And what I'm going to do first is let's go to GoCollect and let's look up the FMV of this book that we are about to give away. And let's check this thing out. This is, let's see what we have here. Flash 139, already pre-populated. So let's go ahead and hit the search button. And this is the GoCollect interface for those that haven't had a chance to see it. To check the price, you go ahead and click this, the title right there. It'll pop it open. This is a 3.0. So as soon as this page loads, we're going to scroll down. We're going to find the 3.0, and you can see here that the FMV is $250. The most recent 25 sales are already here pre-populated. So we'll go ahead and click on that. You can see some of the pricing. 204, 114. Somebody got a smoking deal there. 208, 258, 224, and 200 are some of the prices that we are seeing for this Flash 139. So somebody's going to walk away, I think, with a pretty awesome book. So let's go ahead and we will pop open this other screen. And we are going to first take a look at the list of names of folks that managed to enter the contest. This list, I want to say, was up around 8 o'clock earlier today, but these are all the individuals that were able to successfully enter the contest. And as a reminder, there is one entry per household, one entry per household. If I find duplicate names, I will just go ahead and reduce them down to one entry per household. And these are all of the individuals that successfully were able to enter this week's GoCollect giveaway. I know there were a lot of people that were kind of disappointed that they did not have an opportunity to enter the contest. Just as a reminder, contest runs every single week. Basically Monday through Sunday morning is when the contest basically runs. So we're going to go ahead and roll our dice and see how many times we're going to have to randomize this list before we get going. The total is 7. We're going to randomize our list a total of 7 times, and then we will go ahead and get this party started and declare who our winner actually is. So let's go ahead and do this thing. We're going to randomize this thing. That is 1, scrolling. That is 2, scrolling. That is 3, 4, 5, 6. And the winner of the Go Collect giveaway for this week is Jess. You are the winner of this week's Go Collect giveaway. You are going to be the recipient of a Flash 139. Jess, all I need you to do is to send an email to me at regiecollects@gmail.com, REGIE collects.com. Send me an email to that email address, giving me your screen name, your government name, your mailing address, and your preference for either a t-shirt or the stylist. If you pick the t-shirt, I need to know your size. And again, I only have large and extra large. So go ahead and send that to me. I will get this bundled up and shipped out to you just as soon as I can. All right. So we'll go ahead and remove that. So again, we do these cool giveaways every single week. And so, again, I'm super thankful for the folks over at Go Collect that again, give us money and who allow us to be doing these giveaways every single week. So definitely appreciative of those guys. And I know a couple of people have commented that the list gets bigger and bigger. I think this week, before I deduped it, it was 264 people, which is one of the largest that we've had in recent weeks. I think we had a while ago, like a 305. I think that was one. That was early on. That was one of the larger, but this one I think was a pretty large list of people. But the good thing about it, to be honest with you, is that by having more people coming to the channel, it actually puts us in a position to actually be able to negotiate a little bit better, to actually potentially get more money to be able to give away even better books in the future. And so it is, I understand where people are coming from, but hopefully we can also see some of the good in it. And on that note of good, we are getting close to 5,000 subs. I think last I checked, I was at 4,902. So we're getting very close to 5,000 subs. And I mentioned this before, there is a local comic shop out in Stockton that is basically promised to give us a really nice gift to be able to give away. And so we shall see what that gift is as we get closer and closer to 5,000 subs. I honestly have no clue, just being completely honest. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is, and I'm excited to hopefully give it away to somebody. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, see what you guys are talking about. A lot of people giving congrats to Jess there. So scrolling down. Well done, sir. Well done. Scrolling down, Heavy Hammer Jim. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Heavy Hammer was on a roll today. My man was binge watching some videos earlier today. I kept seeing his comments pop up on things. So Pure Goss says, give away that X-Men 1 at 100,000 subs. So here's what we'll do. I will promise that I will do everything that I can to find someone willing to give us an X-Men 1 to actually give away at 100,000 subs. That X-Men 1 that is on that wall behind me is not going to be given away. I can promise you that, my friend. That book is never leaving my hands. Yeah, Tina, we very well could be. I mean, we've been on a roll with subs. I can't remember the exact numbers, but at one point it was almost 23 subscribers a day were actually flowing into the channel. So some weeks are better than others, some days are better than others, depending upon what's actually going on. So we shall see. And again, I'm definitely appreciative of all of this. So James says, wow, 5,000 subs. It's been a long time since those early day videos. I mean, it seems like just yesterday that honestly that I was, at a much lower number of subs. And I think that there is definitely something to be said for consistency of putting out content on a consistent basis, and knowing that and having people know that you're going to continue delivering content. I think there's something to be said for that. And I think people genuinely enjoy having fun. And so I think that hopefully with good content, with, having some fun and having some giveaways, I think that will hopefully continue to attract more people. But I'm very thankful for those early, very rocky videos where my sound wasn't good and my lighting wasn't good, and 5 people watched a video. I'm very thankful for that because it helped me to find my voice. It helped me to find my confidence to be able to do, a live stream with, I think it was like 120 some odd people here in the room. I'm very thankful for those early lessons, those early slow Slow live streams. James O'Neill, how you doing? Straight out of Compton, says Matthew Stockton. Well, Matthew Stockton, sorry about that, Matthew. But yeah, we're gonna hit up, what is it, Grapevine out in Stockton. I think it's Jim. I think the owner was Jim or James. I can't remember which one he goes by, but he has made a commitment and we are going to hold him to that. Matty Joe says he remembers those kitchen videos. Man, I had one light. It was a massive light that used to sit right in front of me and just pummel me with light. And I used to just do the videos. And what was crazy, and I think I've talked about this before, like my daughter, we were in a really small house. My daughter was probably 6 feet when she was a baby, 6 feet from me when I was doing those videos in the kitchen. And so I couldn't talk all that loud because she was like right there. So in a lot of the videos, if you watch them, my voice is very low as I'm talking to the camera because she was like right there, you know? So 5,000 people rushed to the zoo for a gibbon. Oh man. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Tina, thank you very much for those kind words. You know, again, I'm having a whole lot of fun doing this stuff. Someone reached out to me the other day and asked, you know, part of like why I do the videos and my first, or like what is my goal and objective, and my first comment was to have fun. You know, I honestly have fun when I'm doing these videos. And if it ever becomes not fun, then I probably won't do it, right? I do it because it's fun. It makes the hobby really, really fun to me. And then, you know, my other objective is to kind of put out content for new collectors, newly returning collectors, and even seasoned collectors. So it's like, it gives me a range in which to be able to create content where I'm not pigeonholed into doing one type of thing. I like to meander and I like to do different things, to try stuff out. And some things work and some things don't, you know, but that's the fun of it. That's the fun of it. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what you guys are talking about. Felix, thank you for stopping by, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Again, B Comics 313, definitely appreciate that. Are you out of Detroit? 313 area code. Very informative and great content is what they are saying, so I definitely appreciate that. Quest Dog, thank you, man, because again, the thing is it takes time to put out a good video, I think, right? And so I try to put out good content that is also presented well, and I think people have said that they appreciate the production quality. And the truth of the matter is I'm a one-man show, right? I do my own graphics by and large, except for like, you know, this little nice graphic up there, right? I basically do my own graphics, I do my own editing, I do my own videos, I do my own shooting, and so I'm a one-man show. And so it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because again, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, scrolling down, Comic Collection Agency. How you doing, brother? Make sure you send me an email. I sent you an email earlier today. Hit me back on email so we can get this contest launched. This dude right here is an awesome dude. Comic Collection Agency. He actually hooked me up a couple of months ago with a giveaway for people that was tied to the Black Knight. And the thing was, who is best to play the Black Knight and what time period? And there was maybe one other component. And so he gave me a Black Knight figure, a Black Knight comic, and then also a deck of cards featuring the Black Knight. We actually did a little contest and gave that away to a subscriber. So we're actually going to do that again. I'm not going to tell you who we're going to do it for, but I will tell you that we are going to do it again, hopefully sometime soon. So I'm scrolling down through the comments here. You should do a quick recap of how the back wall has changed since you moved into the comic book room. The problem is the back wall has changed a lot. And I want to say that I showed the changes back there in a room tour. So if you search for Regie Collects room tour 6, I think you can actually see the modifications that I made to the back of the room, but I change it every single month ever so slightly, and even moved it again around today. Moved a couple of the things that were off to my left and to my right, and the things on that shelf have also all been kind of reorganized just to kind of keep mixing it up just a little bit. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, man, they are still up, man. But you have to scroll way down to find them, right? Because I release at least 5 videos a week, and have for 30, 40 weeks, something like that. So you have to scroll way down, but they are down there. There are a lot of kitchen videos with horrible sound and horrible lights. But if you guys get a chance, check those out because there's definitely some cool stuff down there. All right. So I am now starting to sweat because of these hot lights that are up in here. My brother Wayne McDonald is getting sleepy, and so we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I will tell you guys that I hopefully will have some good news actually coming out, so stay tuned. I have a couple of things that I'm working on in the background that I want to update you guys on very soon. But again, I have some awesome videos that are actually coming out tonight. Good to see you. Glitter and duct tape. I actually responded to one of your questions in one of the videos that is going to be released this week. So definitely stay tuned for that. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I always enjoy these live streams. There is a lot of good content that is coming out this week. One of them I'll mention to you again is going to be the comic book dry cleaning video that will be dropping. I'm also going to drop 2 podcasts this week. Couple of live streams. One of those live streams may actually be with Nerdy Girl, aka Danielle. She has an amazing collection of golden age and super expensive comics. During one of the live streams, she actually had 10 slabs sitting in front of her that basically totaled $1 million. She had 10 slabs sitting in front of her, CGC slabs that amounted to $1 million sitting in front of her. And so if you guys haven't seen these videos, you definitely want to search Regie Collects Nerdy Girl, and you will actually be able to find those videos. But she is going to be coming back on the channel, hopefully this week, if I can make some magic, and we're going to talk about some really cool topics. So definitely stay tuned for that. So like I said, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. If you need me, feel free to reach out to me at Regie Collects on Instagram and RegieCollects@gmail.com. Take care.